Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 151, recording on Sunday, May 21st, 2023. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And we've been busy playing Tears of the Kingdom and Jedi Survivor, but not a lot of news in the video game world. So we reached out on our Discord. You can always find the link to the Discord on youtube.com/GameJunk on those episodes. So check those out, subscribe, like, and join the Discord if you like. All of today's questions will come from the Discord. So we'll be getting to those. Before we do that, just want to mention some friends of ours, Creative Bite Studios, who I worked with on Embers of Miram, finally announced their new game, Return to Grace, an adventure game that kind of has an AI theme, I would say. Maybe a bit of a philosophical theme, like a prestige discussion or something like that.
Yeah.
So that some popular themes these days on our Discords. And that's coming out real soon, May 30th, 2023. You can wish list it on Steam. I just did. So check out the trailer, give it a peek, add it to your wish list. And I'm sure, well, we should say we all play tested and gave feedback on the game, I think. So I'm sure at some point we'll talk to Paul and Sean and maybe Dave and maybe get them on to talk about it at some point. So Return to Grace on Steam coming soon. Check it out. Okay. Any other business before we get into this junk mail?
No business. It's a long weekend and nothing going on, man.
Absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. Just this podcast. We should be out partying. Nope. Sunday night. Game junk time. Fireworks going off around all of our respective houses. Different
As we speak.
Corners of Ontario. Yeah, it's crazy. And we're here dedicated to the Game Junk audience in a week when literally nothing is worth talking about. All right, here we go. First question from Pawman. Mine would be, did you guys finish The Witcher 3 and why not?
Just assuming we didn't finish it. How dare he?
What's the official, this emoji? Grimacing emoji. I kind of like the cringe emoji kind of thing.
It's like a word. That's the worried emoji, I think.
Technically, I hovered over it and it is grimacing. Sorry, Sean. I didn't just say that cavalierly.
Okay. Sorry. Stand corrected.
It's okay.
We should maybe keep on this topic of emojis. I sure it would be more exciting than the gaming news this week. But to answer the question, no, I don't think any of us have beat it. And why not? Well, it is installed on my machine, ready to go at a moment's notice, yet to be fired up in the past probably 2 years, though. And I think I've played the opening, 4 or 5 hours twice now. Enjoy it. I almost get overwhelmed with how much stuff there is. And then if you take some time off, coming back to it is so daunting. So I feel like I'm not even going to try to dabble in this game. It's not a dabbling game. You need to be committed to this game. And I just don't have any time to commit to a big game unless it's called Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And even then, I don't have that much time to play that game. So that is why I have not finished it.
What if they renamed The Witcher 3 to Final Fantasy 4 and released it like a Trojan horse scenario? Would you find time in that scenario?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I think I could scrap together some time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even started it. I own it on multiple platforms. Would love to dig into it one of these days. And hey, I really like Cyberpunk, so I think I need to play it at some point, but has not happened yet.
So I've started it on 2 separate occasions. I do like many things about it, but out of any game I can think of, it has like the list of barriers to entry. And I get number 1, 2 previous games I haven't beaten. And I'm like, I don't know the story. So let's add another new reason not to start it, that they're remaking the first Witcher with modern technology. And should I just wait and start with that and not play The Witcher 3? Then you got to add on the achievements. Oh, what a daunting list. There's many missables, Gwent cards that you only get one chance to get. Believe me, I've probably spent more time researching all the achievement paths and roadmaps for The Witcher 3 than I have playing and platinuming some games, because I do want to play the game. And you have to play on hard. And then apparently when you start on hard, at the beginning it's tough, but it gets easier as you go. So I got to play on hard. So that's another barrier. And the size and scale, which has been mentioned. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't hook me, which is just kind of a pace thing. I don't love the pace of the open world, but it's not bad. Don't get me wrong, but it is overwhelming. But I got to say, I'm on a huge open world game kick. Like I'm really getting pulled into open worlds, even something like Forspoken. I just wanted to kind of explore the world and do everything. Breath of the Wild finally got me. Now Tears of the Kingdom. So if I have time, this game, Skyrim even. I've never beaten Skyrim on my open world list of shame. Elden Ring. Let's ask this question right now. From my brains, Frankie, have you not finished Elden Ring yet? No, I haven't. Those are 3 open world games that I would love to cross off my list of shame this summer. Oh, and of course, Red Dead 2. Like those,
surprised there wasn't a question about Red Dead 2.
Those 4 games and Hollow Knight. I'm looking at the summer schedule and they're big games. I don't think I'm gonna have the time. But I've got a plan in place. I've got a schedule that I've mapped out for myself to try to make this happen.
Wow.
That I can assure you. But it never quite goes according to schedule.
So what's top of the list?
100% Jedi Survivor by tomorrow night, which isn't going to happen now. Then beat Zelda by the end of Thursday night. I'm not 100%ing it. Then Resident Evil 4 over the weekend. Dead Space on Monday.
Wow, this is a tight
for the rest
schedule.
of the week. Then get ready for Final Fantasy
wiggle
16.
room on this one.
No, it's not.
100% Final Fantasy 16. Then I forgot 2 other ones. Horizon Zero Dawn, replay that. Then Forbidden West. Then I might need to just break it up and play Hollow Knight at that point. But we'll see. That's the tentative schedule.
That's an intense schedule. I asked for the top of the list thinking 1, and you gave us a whole month's worth of games.
I've got it mapped, and I'm sure I've forgotten one somewhere in there. That's the only way to live the game life. You have to do it. You have to plan it out. You have to make the time. Okay, next question. You've been Gregged? I have one. What is the angriest moment in game playing history for each of you? Part 2, most euphoric moment. I like this question.
Great question. I don't have any good answers for you, but I'll try. For me, angriest moments, it's more like early stuff that I can think of, like breaking NES controllers and Commodore 64 joysticks over stupid stuff, I'm sure. But, I remember Battletoads being one of those games that I really wanted to play. And it's just like that speeder bike level was just like, oh my God, I couldn't handle it. I remember breaking a joystick. Actually, it might not have been me. It might have been my brother. Maybe this is all blurring together, but
shared consciousness?
Maybe. But like playing winter games and like trying to break world records and things and like getting so close and just not getting there. And oh man, those
games were so taxing on your hand too, like wiggling that fucking joystick back and forth as fast as you can. God damn it.
Exactly.
Mashing that one single button. Oh yeah. What about euphoric? Or should we do all angry first?
We'll do worst first. Huck, you got one?
I got one. Well, a couple popped to mind, like playing, old sports games where like you just get so cheesed and you just get so pissed. I remember watching a buddy of mine break multiple PlayStation controllers playing, I think like NFL Blitz, whatever, back in the day. But for me, it had to have been when I purchased with my hard-earned money Final Fantasy VII for the PC. It came in this crazy like triangle-ish box, and I played all the way to basically the end of disc 2. And there's the big cutscene with Bahamut or whoever the big Megazord thing is that starts breathing fire, and it goes to breathe fire, and the game crashes. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So I like reload it. Of course, you're like an hour away from a saver. So you replay the whole thing. Exact same point, crashes. I restart the computer, another hour in, crashes. Go back, return the disk, reinstall the whole thing, keep the save files, get back there, crashes. Start a new game, back to the whole point, 40 hours in, crashes. It almost killed my
Started
love.
a new game.
I know. It almost killed my love of Final Fantasy VII. But then I said, F this game. I'll wait until I get a PlayStation 2 or whatever it was that was out at the time. And then I beat it on a real console, not this PC bullshit. And anyways, it was because of whatever shitty computer I was running it on, obviously. But it was so frustrating, and I put so much time into trying to get to beat this stupid game. And I couldn't because of a flaw in the PC.
Well, I really didn't have a great answer for this because I'm definitely have gotten mad and yelled, who thought this was fun or been on the verge of snapping. But those moments do not linger for me. Once I get beyond it, I'm good to go. I've never broken anything, never thrown anything. But I was talking at a friend's house this weekend, and I was reminded of a story that's somewhat relevant to this show and my recent conversion to PC gaming, where a moment when I got out of PC gaming, which was PGA Tour 486 for I bought it for my IBM computer, and I couldn't I didn't even know how to run it. I couldn't get it to install. I had to call my friend Lotto. His dad had to come over. He knew computers and configured VRAM and all this stuff. And I'm like, kind of like how when I'm playing some games now, I'm like, how was I supposed to know how to do any of this? And I think that moment was like, okay, PC games. I don't think I bought another PC game from that point on in my life, and like pretty sparingly until my 20s or 30s. So that was a defining moment for me, for sure. I wouldn't say it was the angriest, but it's the best I could come up with.
Okay.
And but then there's small angry moments every day, like today when this Jedi Survivor soft locked 3 times in the same place, and I'm like, there's no reason for this to be happening, and I had to restart the game 3 times and redo a bunch of stuff, and I was pretty pissed at the time. But now the game's done, beat it, good to go. But I have an angry moment literally every time I play video games. Angriest, couldn't tell you.
I mean, losing save files has got to be up there, although I don't have any specific memories of something, the one save file that I couldn't believe I lost. But like even just
on the Discord, lost all of her Breath of the Wild saves, like 40, 50. Like I would lose my mind.
Well, it's funny. I went back to play a bit of the last case of Benedict Fox, and I think last time we talked about it, there was a discussion on the Discord, I feel like, about this.
Someone lost their save progress.
Yeah, but you know what it is? You have to manually save in that game. If you quit and come back later, all the stuff you've done is gone unless you explicitly went to save game in the menu. There's no autosave. It's insane. So that happened to me, but I mean, I didn't lose that much progress. Euphoric moment. So, you know, this for me, it's not like beating some game that was super hard or anything. My euphoric moment was Rock Band coming out. And I remember it was not available in Canada initially. And there was a snowstorm, drove over the border to try and get a copy, just going to GameStop, hoping that they have one. And they had one. And it was like driving home in this snowstorm, like, oh my God, I got Rock Band, getting home and playing it. And it was just the best feeling. It was amazing.
I
Yeah,
like it.
mine was probably similar, I would say. So the first, I mean, I had a Commodore 64, but the first console I ever got was the Sega Genesis. And that was one of those, like, not necessarily Nintendo kid moments, but similar, where my parents got it for me for Christmas, but my dad, or my dad had set it up so it was on, and he had put in the NHL hockey game that he got for me, and he basically just left it on a track screen cycling all night. So I came down, and there's just like the Genesis hooked up to the TV with the NHL track screen on. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to dive into this beauty. And it was just a great experience for sure.
I'm sure I've had many moments buying games that felt that way, but the first thing that came to mind, like the proudest platinum thing, was probably finally beating Sekiro and getting the platinum trophy. That felt pretty good. Not gonna lie, because I'm an okay gamer, like skill wise. I'm not that good, and I was like, I'd never be able to beat this game or do this, but I did, and it felt really good. Okay, good question, Dustin. Has a video game ever inspired you to try something in real life? For example, I got into lockpicking because of Skyrim. LOL. Yeah. Theft is hilarious, Dustin.
So here's an interesting thing. I was thinking about this, like certain sports, like I had never played the sport, but I played the video game. So like something like golf, years before I ever played golf in real life, I was playing the video game golf. So I feel like in some ways, like maybe it's not that inspired me to do it, but like, you knew the game, and that was kind of a cool thing. So maybe that, but I don't know if I have a better answer than that.
Yeah, I was similar. Like I never really understood NFL football rules until I started playing Madden. And now I absolutely love NFL football and think it's the greatest, and I'm obsessed with it. So, I mean, I didn't really try football because of that. But also I could say that like Rock Band, the drums, wanted me to try drums. I tried drums for a bit. Although it was on like a roommate's drum kit, but that inspired me to try it. And I still always want to get a drum kit eventually to actually try to learn how to play the drums. So that's sort of like one I hope to remedy in the near future of actually doing. And that was all inspired by, I mean, I probably had a desire to try drums beforehand, but was always too like ashamed that it would be too loud in my house kind of thing. But now with like the electronic drum kits, I can shamelessly play without absolutely making it a pain in the ass for everyone else in the house. So I would say those are two examples for me. And you know what? I was surprised, Sean, you didn't say Tony Hawk for skateboarding, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I was never,
kid.
I did have a skateboard. I wouldn't really consider myself a skater, and I probably was doing it before Tony Hawk, but I bet that a ton of people would have that as their answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
To Tony Hawk? To Frank's chagrin.
I can't think of an answer for this. I don't think I've ever done anything. Even Rock Band, the stuff I was good at, maybe I had the closest would have been to buy the guitar similar to Sean, going over the border and getting the real guitar that worked with Rock Band 3 and thinking I was going to try to learn and never doing that. That's probably the closest.
Nice.
All right. Moquam, dear game men, what upgrades to systems or mechanic additions are you guys hoping to see in Spider-Man 2? Were there any areas you felt could be improved from the last Miles Morales game or the first game? We know Sean's answer.
Do we?
But we need the world to feel more full and alive. It's too empty.
That would be nice. I mean, I guess my thought would be like, I don't know. It would be cool if you can kind of swap between Spider-Man like on a moment's notice, or I don't know what the plan is there, but something like that could be interesting.
Oh, I thought I had another one for Sean. I thought he'd say for sure.
What's that?
co-op. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I would think we would know if it was coming by now, but it seems like it would be an obvious thing to add. Yeah.
I think it's quite possible. Huck, anything for you?
I mean, mine is that I never beat Miles Morales, so I'm not sure all the stuff that was added, but I felt like the Venom power stuff was almost like a step in the wrong direction for me. So maybe I hope they scale back that stuff and just stick to, more traditional stuff. I mean, I loved all the little side Peter Parker mission things that a lot of people hated. So I kind of hope they had more of those. I really liked like the DNA processing or whatever, and the other thing they had, I can't remember what they are off the top of my head now, but there was like two or three
The
mini
mini
games.
puzzle game kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, the mini games that I really liked, and I hope they had more of those. So that's it for me.
I kind of feel like co-op would be my default answer. I think that would be a fun game to play co-op with, like, uh, if they add heroes or something like that. But it kind of works. I'm the opposite. I kind of prefer the streamlined approach to Miles Morales, where there's less like random crimes and busy work. It was like more story focused, and I actually didn't mind the Venom powers. So uh maybe for a frank answer, we'll say more shooting mechanics. Let's aim and kill things. That is the most satisfying mechanic. Got to get that in there just for everybody.
Well, I mean, have they said like, is this at all tied into like Spider-Verse type stuff? Like, could there be other Spider-Verse characters in this game? Like, I feel like they would be marketing it as a Spider-Verse game if that were the case, but
Okay, but to be fair, Sean, they've barely said anything about it. They've announced it, and it's a
yeah, you're right. I mean, there really hasn't been, kind of surprised there hasn't been much, but
I thought someone might say vehicles, but I personally wouldn't want that. I would rather they add more mechanics to locomotion for Spider-Man throughout the city. Okay, follow-up number 2. With the rumors of the Ghost of Tsushima sequel being announced soon, do you guys think that Sucker Punch will ever return to the infamous franchise in the near future?
it doesn't feel like it.
I think it's a big mistake. And I think they should remaster Infamous Second Son. That game is way better than what the credit it got when it came out. And really, Jedi Survivor, the locomotion stuff they add in that game, they were borrowing from Infamous for sure. So I think they should return, but I'm with Sean. Nothing. See, if they do, I think they're going to give it to another studio, like just the license to someone else to do. Or really, they should just remake Infamous 1 and 2, probably, because
Yeah, I mean,
now that the
at
install
this
base for
point,
PlayStation is so much bigger, those are a perfect pair of games to like re-release as a remastered collection.
Did they?
it feels like
they-
there wasn't a huge, like, I don't remember like sales or review wise. I feel like they did okay, but it just feels like people don't think fondly of that franchise for some reason.
Well, I think the install base, that's when 360 dominated, and Second Son released at the dawn of the PS4. It was like a launch title. So PlayStation didn't really take over and completely dominate the console wars until about halfway through the PS4 life cycle. So a lot of people missed out on those games. They obviously, those games and Resistance need to come back.
Yeah, they've never done like a trilogy, right? Of those, like a bundle.
No,
Yeah, so that might be a good option for.
and it's like
Infamous.
it's 2 games and then 2 like
That
standalone
First Light or
DLC.
whatever, right?
First Light and
Or
then
Neon something.
Festival of Blood. No, it's First Light. No.
Oh, okay.
Festival of Blood, I think, was for Infamous.
Right.
2. Oh no,
Yeah.
sorry, trilogy was. Sorry, you're right. With if you include Second Son, yeah, that would be like 3, almost 5 games.
Yeah. So I also, I'm with you, Frank. I don't think they're gonna do it themselves. I think if anything, they would hand it off to somebody and possibly like a Blue Point to do like a remaster, and then possibly look in some other studio to make a new one. But I don't think they would do it themselves.
All right. Next from Ricky Simpson. My question: where do you get your ideas from? Anyone know what this is a reference to?
I have no idea.
I
Are we
believe
talking about game ideas? Are we talking about
No,
podcast ideas?
it's a joke. It's what Adam Egget would ask on Norm Macdonald's podcast. I'm pretty sure is the reference there. Anyway, next from Huck City. Who's that guy?
Who? What?
Dear Frank, why are Sean and Jay so wrong about the Prestige? Great question. One of the best questions we've ever received. Look, we had a whole debate before the show got into free will. It's a fun topic, but I think we're gonna, if you want to learn about that, go to the Film Junk Patreon. And there's a Christopher Nolan premium, and the Prestige generated a whole 2.5 hour conversation about how copying, cloning, whatever you want to call it, or how you think it works, which is probably wrong. Listen to that conversation, and then if you want to be stimulated. Okay. Next, Dustin, number 2. Have you ever taken a day of work or school for a video game release? If so, for what games?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done it on purpose. I do have a memory, strangely enough, another snowstorm. I feel like there was like a snow day or something happened, and I couldn't go to work right when Dead Space 2 came out. And I remember just playing that all day, which was amazing. But that was not planned. So
I have 2 anecdotes I've probably told before for this. One, like, I don't know if this counts, but when the Wii came out, I scheduled a week off work just to play all the games that launched. So I took my
Nice.
week. Actually, I did that for Xbox 360 too. When it released, I went to the cottage, took the 360, and played it all week. So I've definitely taken vacations. Oh, I think I took a Vitacation when the Vita came out as well. I think my whole life revolves around video game vacations. And lastly, I'll just say in university, there was a somewhat, speaking of infamous assignment in Waterloo Computer Science, which is it was an assembly assignment. So turning like a coding language into assembly. This isn't necessarily the compiler assignment, the group project. This is one assignment based on generating assembly code worth 5% of your final mark. And I did some of it, about 1% of the 5%. And then Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty released, and I played that all weekend long and said, I am not doing this assignment. And I have not regretted it for a day of my life.
That is a constant conversation while you have those assignments at Waterloo. It's basically, do I want to waste 30 hours of my life to get 1% of my mark? And the answer is usually no.
Yeah. And I guess part of me wishes I would have done the assignment. Part of me also wishes they would have structured the assignment in a better way for me to learn and do the assignment rather than doing it like that. But hey, we don't need to go down that road right now. Maybe another time. Good answers. Hurt Boa. Any ultra bold predictions for the big PlayStation show on Wednesday? So I don't think it's officially called a state of play, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a showcase.
It seemed like there was a lot of PSVR 2 stuff potentially coming. But I mean, gotta wonder about Spider-Man 2. We've been talking about it. I mean, they gotta have something soon for that if it's coming out this year. So maybe that. Ultra bold though.
I don't know if this is ultra bold. I think we're gonna see at least, I'll say, footage from a new Naughty Dog game, which may or may not be the online Last of Us game, but I think we might see a single player game as well.
I'm going to say Astrobot Rescue Mission 2 for PSVR 2.
I like it.
Just taking a quick look at their studios. I'm going to say the next in the Killzone series from Guerrilla.
I was going to give it to you. Nice.
You didn't need to.
I didn't need to. You had it right
It's
there.
obvious. It's obvious.
Because I was thinking about that. They haven't made a Killzone game in a long time.
Yeah. And I know they're rolling 2 teams. And since the Horizon team kicked out 2 games back to back, this other team's got to be lining up for something big.
And like with Microsoft, Halo, Call of Duty, just like
They need
going
it.
down. Now is the time to get a killer FPS, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe SOCOM sequel.
No chance. SOCOM sucks, dude.
Never played it.
Okay, from Fam. Junkie Gamers. What is your prediction or wish list for games that should be adapted to new media? Shows, movies, board game, etc. Next, following The Last of Us and Mario success, and I'm assuming Gran Turismo and what's the other Sony one? I'm adding this to the question. What was the other Sony thing besides Gran Turismo that got announced? That looked
I don't remember now.
anyway. And the game adaptation renaissance as of late. I think specifically Mario being the factor there. What should never be adapted or touched in any way, as it is perfection to thine senses?
Well, I can start with the one that shouldn't be touched, and it's not just. I mean, I like it a lot, obviously, Metroid, but I think it's more because I just don't see how that's going to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's something about the game when you add dialogue and story, and they've tried that in some of the games, it kind of isn't great, and it's just more about the atmosphere. So I feel like unless you're going to make a very quiet, minimalistic film, don't do it.
I like it.
I I don't know. I'm racking my brain for like what hasn't been adapted. I mean, has Metal Gear been adapted?
No,
No.
it's had to have been in the works for a while.
Okay.
There's a lot in the
Isaac,
works,
I think.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I would
What are
say,
the ones
I
that
mean,
are in
Metal
the
Gear.
works? There was one that I actually think could be good. I just had it and lost it. A Sony property. It'll come back to me. But
Ghost of Tsushima movie that is in the works. The one that came to mind that I don't know if it's ever been announced, but could be cool, maybe, would be Half-Life, I guess, or something in that universe.
I was thinking Portal, like based
Portal
on
2, yeah.
the action sequence in Dungeons and Dragons. Like
Yeah,
if they could expand that out a bit, that could be a neat one.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Not touched. I don't know. Like, would they do? What about like a Red Dead? I feel like a part of Red Dead is about exploring that world. And although I'm sure it could be adapted into a Western, I feel like the real draw of that is experiencing how like just immense the world they created is and like all that kind of stuff. But maybe not. I don't know.
I guarantee there's a pitch right now for like an authentic Western called Red Dead Redemption. It's like we're gonna make it like a spaghetti Western. It's not gonna be modern. I would bet my life that is there's probably 20 treatments of that somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like as with The Last of Us, it's one of those ones that comes up as having a great story in a video game, and I think you could take that story out and transplant it to screen, and it would be decent. But
was God of War the show you're thinking of?
No,
is that? I know there's something. Is it a show or a movie? I thought
I'm
it
not
was
sure.
a movie, but I'm trying to remember. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was announced. I know, like you guys said, Metal Gear Solid was announced. There's like Death Stranding, BioShock, Borderlands. Borderlands was actually like wrapped production, I believe.
I'm
So that's
surprised
definitely coming.
BioShock hasn't, because Ken Levine was like a screenwriter before he got into video games. So you think that would be his dream to, get something on film for that game. But I guess he probably doesn't have the rights, and I don't know, maybe he does have some rights to it and doesn't want to do it or something.
to go the Mario way, I think Jack and Daxter could be a good candidate.
Yeah, it's true.
And this one, I honestly, I cannot decide if it should be done or never touched. I honestly, I'm right in the middle, but I want to go extreme either way, and that's Sewer Shark. Like, I kind of want a Sewer Shark TV
Oh
show,
man.
but I don't like. I just kind of want the acting and style from Sewer Shark. I don't want them to change anything. So
It is kind of the perfect game.
yeah, it's tough. Last one, I just
So
was looking at a list. I think Wipeout could be a cool universe to adapt to, like a sports TV show, or like a futuristic.
there's a great Wipeout TV show out there already. So I mean,
I mean the futuristic racing Wipeout.
I was Twisted Metal the one you were thinking of, Frank?
Yes, it was.
Which is coming out in July, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't announced Horizon, like some sort of Aloy.
No,
It's coming.
there's got to be something for her.
There is something, but I think it's a Netflix thing.
Like the first property in that, or it's one of the first ones in that PlayStation Studios logo. They show Aloy very early in that. So
Yeah.
all right. I'm sorry, Dave. Do you guys have like a comfy Sunday morning type game you throw on regularly? I'm usually the first one up in my house, so I'll sit and play No Man's Sky for an hour or so with a cup of coffee while everyone sleeps. Nice, relaxing game to play before I'm fully awake. I thought people might have a game like that of their own.
I mean, I don't have a specific game for me. The relaxing ones would be like puzzle games, like Freshly Frosted. That what was the one I talked about last week? It's kind of like The Witness, like anything like that, where it's
No
just kind
nozzle.
of no nozzles, great. Yeah. Just anything where you go at your own pace and solve puzzles. That's kind of a relaxing thing for me.
The only thing I ever had for this was like mobile games, like just waking up in bed and firing them up or something like that. And I haven't thought about this in a while. I purged Clash of Clans and Toon Blast, and that must have been like 4 or 5 years ago. And I've never looked back. So if you've ever been on the fence of that for that or something like that, don't even think twice. Get rid of them. You'll never feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, mobile gaming is pretty much dead.
Think of my schedule I laid out at the beginning of the show. That wasn't even accounting like the you go for a shit and then you take 15 minutes extra just trying to do something in Toon Blast or something. So you got to eliminate those types of variables from your video game schedule. You need to be streamlined.
Efficient.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really have any other than puzzle games as well. I don't really have a regular schedule. I would like to get into probably a game like that. Like recently I've been wanting to try The Long Dark as like a game to try. I don't know if it would really fall into that situation, but probably the closest one of like an exploration game is like Subnautica for me. I find myself coming back to that game every once in a while. I just find it, relaxing to go and collect stuff in the ocean, and it's not so I guess open in regards of like having no direction at all. And I kind of like that about it. So that'd probably be mine.
I would say something like a roguelike that you love is like my thought of, hey, what if I just, I wake up, I do a run every day. The problem is good roguelikes is one more run. And then I know I'm going to end up playing for 3 more hours. So I can't detach from that process. If there was one game I wish I attempted to do this with, but it didn't really take, it's Animal Crossing. I think that's a good candidate for this. Like, do your daily stuff when you wake up, chill out, and then once you've done everything in the game, it's just some maintenance and daily stuff, and then put it away for the rest of the day.
Yep.
Okay, Waters 44. Are we almost getting to the point where the first generation of console gamers are approaching old age? Maybe 10, 20 years time? Not that long, really. Do you see a near future where old people's homes are full of PlayStations? My dad passed away earlier this year at 62. He was a farming simulator obsessive until the day he died. So there must be others around that age who have never put the controller down since the 80s, 90s. And condolences on, was it your father?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like, he
Sorry
lived
to hear
that
that.
gaming life. You gotta love it.
I mean, this is an interesting question. I was literally thinking about this the other day, basically thinking, I can't wait to be retired so I could just focus on video games. And I think that's something that our generation will do. And I think we may be the first generation to do that.
I agree.
Yeah, I think there probably will be like PlayStations in nursing homes. Why not? I mean, people will probably be fighting over the controllers, to be honest. Like they might have them all in their own personal room and have LAN parties in the thing. Probably raucous in there.
Yeah, can we just go in there already?
Sounds amazing.
We just, yeah, let's have a community.
Okay, for real. We should start like buying up real estate and starting like a gaming retirement community.
Sure. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
And like, oh, this is good. Okay.
Cut it out of the show. Cut it out.
Kiddo in Flames. Do you guys still pre-order games? Why or why not? I'll go first. I do. Mostly because I want to pre-download it and have it ready to go at midnight for that day. So if it was physical, I probably wouldn't. I'd wait for a good deal or a shopper's thing for physical games, but I usually want to play at midnight. And the extra incentive, I know it's not much, but I actually don't mind, some digital bonus. I would very rarely buy a deluxe edition because it's usually just soundtrack and art books, which is what you're paying for that stuff is ridiculous. But there are at least some small cosmetics or something given to you for pre-ordering, which is enough to put me over the edge for something I know I'm going to buy.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Like I won't like usually I'll be like pre-ordering like a day before. Like I won't do it months in advance unless it's like, they used to have the E3 deals a long time ago, which were great. I still have Metroid Prime 4 pre-ordered at Walmart, I think. But
yeah.
It'll happen eventually.
but yeah, it'll be like, I usually will still wait for reviews, but like if I hear reviews are good, things look good, I'm looking forward to the game, I want to play it at midnight, then I'll like buy it like the day before it comes out or something.
Yeah, I do not almost ever pre-order. I think the only case I would be like the case Frank was talking about, but I am also never up just hanging out at midnight waiting for a game to play. So, I mean, and even if I did, I'd probably only be up for another hour or so. And that seems like I should just probably go to bed and wake up early the next day and do it. So I guess I could
You have your
pre-order
version
this.
of this though. You pre-reserve at the
True.
library.
I do pre-reserve at the library a lot.
You
Yes.
can as soon as it's in their system.
It's true. I do have an obsession about pre-reserving at the library to make sure I'm closest to the front in line. But let me tell you, I've been noticing there's a lot of assholes getting out in front of me that my spot is slowly ticking back further and further when I do these pre spots. People are onto it. I'm getting a little pissed. I thought I had the system down. Like
Big
Jedi
trouble.
Survivor, I still haven't gotten yet. I'm still like 15th in line waiting for that bad boy. What the hell?
Like how early does it go up for
reserve? I think it depends on the like level of the game or the AAA-ness of the game, how popular it's going to be, how much they think it is. But I usually check like once a week. I'll check like Monday mornings, I'll go on and I'll see what new has been added into the system. So I'm sure if I was more psycho, I could check daily, and get right in at the ground floor or figure out what day they add all the games at and then just check like an hour after that or something like that. But I just do it like Monday mornings or something. So, but yeah, like Jedi Survivor, other games, like there's other games that have been there for a long time too. Like I know Hogwarts Legacy was in there for a long time. Like the Pokemon games are always in there for a long time. Zelda's always in there for a long time. Like games they know they're going to buy and that have been announced well in advance are usually in the system quite ahead of time. I don't know what their ordering system is like, but obviously they have some idea of what they've allocated their money to purchase.
All right. Next from Patrick. Shit, I just realized what this thread is. Would this be of interest to the Game Junk, Film Junk crew? would make a fun YouTube video, I bet, with the link to the newly released early access game Starship Troopers Extermination, which I purchased and installed before the show, but did not get time to play it. Sean, if you want to buy this right when we're done and play tonight, let me know.
God damn it.
It's only a 3.9 gig install.
Frank was texting us earlier in the week about it, and I hadn't heard of it. So I looked at it, and it does look decent. I mean, I don't know. You might have convinced me to pick it up.
$30. As soon as we're done the show, buy it, install it. We're playing tonight.
Okay.
Huck, you're welcome to as well. If you want to get in on this, just
it looks. I mean, the video I'm watching is like very familiar from the movie.
Yeah, I just want to kill some bugs, man. Got to make it happen. Last question from Hot Black Desiato. Steam Deck Revisited ? Where do we stand with our Steam Decks? I assume is the context here. Regrets? Use it, play it, collecting dust on a.
I mean, I haven't
purchased Steam Deck official Steam Deck stand in your bedroom like mine is.
I haven't used it in the past week or two because of Zelda, but other than that, I've been using it quite a bit, and I do really like it. I mean, I've been pushing it a bit in terms of even like some of the newer stuff like Resident Evil 4 and stuff I've been trying to play on there, which maybe isn't the best option, but I just know I'll be able to play it more often if it's portable for me. So yeah, I love it.
Like the big releases, I want to play with my video card, my monitor, and kind of take them in the best way possible. I use my Steam Deck mostly for like indie games, and in particular ones that I'm trying to complete or roguelikes, and I'll like do a few runs in bed or on the shitter or whatever. And that's it's perfect for stuff like that.
I actually watched the Digital Foundry like tech analysis of the Rogue Ally or whatever the hell it's called, and it made me a little more interested in it than I was before, because it was getting higher performance than the Steam Deck, and obviously having access to a wider variety of library is also interesting to me. So I may eventually one day pull the trigger on that, or the ROG Ally 2 perhaps in like 5 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
we did it.
It looks pretty sweet.
That's all the questions from Junk Mail. Thanks for getting them in on short notice. Those are some really good questions, actually. That turned out quite nicely. So thanks to everyone on the Discord who contributed. Again, if you want to get in on that, Discord links are on YouTube, on each episode on youtube.com/GameJunk. Right, let's get into what we played. Who would like to go first?
I can, yeah, sure. I tried out Hi-Fi Rush, which I don't think I had played last show. But I actually tried it primarily because of the art style and also the similarity to Soundfall, which I worked on, obviously. And so I wanted to see kind of like what it was about. There's also like a game club at work that I have, and this is the game for this month. So I was like, oh, this is perfect because I do want to check it out. And I was actually extremely impressed with the cutscenes and the animations, and it felt like I was watching an animated cartoon in the like the opening sequences, like a high quality animated cartoon, I should say. And it really adds something not to have stop motion comic type intros. Just having that extra animation level is really, really great. Even if it's like a 3D model that they're just having good camera views on. But I really liked it. And the gameplay was just like a fun, sort of like pretty easy to pick up action platformer. And, you know, after playing Soundfall so much, I kind of just fell right into the groove of it. I did find that some of the moves are not necessarily as like snappy as I would have thought. So you press the button to the beat, but your move is a little delayed. So it kind of starts the move when you hit the button, not finishes the move when you hit the button, if that makes sense. Like it's not quick enough where like the hit is a few frames later. There's actually like quite a big wind up and then the hit happens. So I feel almost like sometimes I may hit the button when the enemies are too close just because I'm trying to time it properly. And then there's like this wind up and then you can kind of get caught. And I should maybe hit the button sooner just because I'm trying to time the beat rather than attack the enemy sometimes. But overall, I thought the comboing was good. There's basically just like kind of 2-button combos with some extra flair on the end if you do it properly. And there's a lot of like hidden little collectible nuts and bolts kind of things to collect. That's your currency for upgrading things. And they're kind of hidden around the level, but the levels aren't very big. So really like exploring off onto little branches is not, too much out of your way. You're not doing that much exploring. It's a very reasonable amount. And they also change it up every once in a while by doing like a forced perspective 2D platforming sections, which are kind of a nice change of pace from the 3D. So overall, I'm really liking it. Highly recommend it, actually, after the first, 45 minutes to an hour that I've played of it. And I'm going to go back to it. I've just been kind of stuck in Zelda land, so I haven't really gotten too much back to it yet.
Cool.
Yeah,
I need to go back to that game.
Definitely on my list to return to as well.
I just can't get into. There's something about I tried, there was a free demo for platinum coins on the Switch for Cadence of Hyrule, and there's something about these rhythm games that I want to like. I just don't get it. I don't feel the beat. I can't feel it.
It's so weird because you think with all your Rock Band and Guitar Hero experience, you would be dominating these games.
No, I stink at them. Sean, anything for you?
I mean, just mostly more Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if I have that much to say. And I mean, I'm still kind of hoping maybe we'll get to a group review at some point. But I mean, I think at this point, like the size of the world is definitely impressing me. Like it seems way bigger than Breath of the Wild, and it just seems like there's so much to do. And
it has to be bigger than Breath of the Wild. It's the same map plus
exactly, yeah,
2 other major additions.
Yeah, but I did the first dungeon, the
wind,
the wind one, which was good. But yeah, mostly just doing shrines, unlocking towers, and just I don't know, side quest stuff for the most part. And I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I played a lot earlier in the week, and I did a lot more shrines, and then went to the water temple, even though it kind of pushes you to the Goron City one second. I think like most of the stuff was getting me the sense I should go there, but I just kind of ended up in the water area, and it was pretty rough, not gonna lie. There is a mechanic there involving water bubbles, which was quite painful, I have to say. I think the level design of the water temple is pretty bad. It leans heavily on a change in gravity, which I never like, because like knowing what jumps you should be able to make and can't, you're not prepared for them. And it's like even the way the temple is structured, it's if you didn't go do the wind temple first, I think it would be even harder to do. So I was not impressed with the level design in that temple at all. The boss was pretty good though. I didn't mind the boss, but so in the wind temple, I guess this is kind of like, it's not really spoiler, but there's a new mechanic there with these kind of bouncy pads, which I found to be quite fun. And the water bubbles are the equivalent of the same idea in that area, and they are just not fun at all. They are frustrating, and I can't believe they made it into a Nintendo game. But still, the temple wasn't horrible, just such a letdown compared to the previous one. But unsurprisingly, I think a lot of people say it's the worst of the 4. So, and it's a feature, water temples have to be bad. It's by design.
Yep.
So you can't even criticize Nintendo. It's just an homage to Zelda.
If it was good, you couldn't give it a 10 out of 10. You couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. I love your reasoning there.
It's perfect.
So when I got frustrated with that temple, I was starting to get a little burnt out on Zelda. I'd been playing a lot of it. So I'm like, I'm going to go back to Jedi Survivor. And my God, when I got back into this game, I was in love. It is so good. Uh, you know, they're both good for different reasons, but the pace and as I started to unlock powers in Jedi Survivor, which I alluded to earlier on the show, some locomotion things that are new to the game and platforming elements that they've expanded upon the further you get into the game. It just takes, I think they recognized in the first game, especially in Dathomir or Dothamir, whatever it is, that level design was extremely congested and confusing. So they added platforming mechanics to allow them to spread out the level design, have the same core ideas, but let it breathe more. And it, man, is it good. Oh, I was just loving the new locomotion stuff. I finally beat the game today. I generally love the same reason I like a lot of video game stories. And I always say it's the characters and character designs. And I think the characters are extremely strong in the series. And actually, you know, for cosmetics for a character, you unlock different outfits and hairstyles for Cal. And I actually think they all look different and amazing. Like I usually rarely experiment with that stuff, but when I get new things, I try them out and I generally think they look really good. And but they're in the second half of the story, I'm not going to spoil any of it. Some stuff happens that I like 4 different things, like major plot things that don't feel that earned to me at all. Like I don't think it's because I took a break either. I'm just like major steps for characters that seem to come out of nowhere. If you've beaten the game and you're in the watching this video, go to the comments or the Discord. Am I alone here? I asked Dax. Dax didn't think so. He was like, "Well, that's Star Wars. That's the way it does." I'm like, "No, Dax, that's not good enough." But we weren't able to get into it yet. We might get into it on an actual review. But yeah, let me know if I'm way off base here. But what can I say? Video game stories suck for the most part, so it's still better than most. So,
Sorry, hit the wrong button. Meant to unmute.
It's I love Jedi Survivor, so I'm gonna try to 100% it by the end of the week. And it's an amazing game. Everyone should play it, especially if you even kind of remotely liked Fallen Order.
I just looked at my library hold. I'm 25th in line for Jedi Survivor. I might have to just pull the trigger and buy it. I don't know if I can wait 25 people. Although, wait, hang on. Let me check how many copies they have. Only 4. Oh, that's painful. That's a painful waiting period. I might have to just pull the trigger. The only other thing I've been playing is Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't think I'm as far. Well, I know I'm not as far as you guys. I'm on my way to Rito Village or whatever it is, and I think that's where the Wind Temple is, right? That you guys are talking about, the Wind Dungeon. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I did have to look up one shrine that I could not figure out, which was frustrating for me. And it has to do with these like trap doors that are triggered by red lasers. I don't know if you guys came across this one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I was avoiding the red lasers, thinking like, I'm not going to touch those, they'll hurt me. And then it turns out you have to touch them to trigger these trap doors, which opens up another section of the shrine, which I was pissed about. But the overall, I haven't had to look up anything else, which I thought is okay. And I got into this area with that balloon lady. Now, let me ask you guys. You guys were talking, I think, last week about going up in the balloon and then not having the paraglider thing.
Yeah, that happened to me.
How the hell did you guys miss that?
I didn't.
Which the paraglider?
The paraglider. I thought it was like impossible to miss when I played.
No, this is the weird thing, and I haven't even finished this whole quest line, but like I think you have to keep talking to that Robbie guy, and he keeps giving you new stuff, and like I think you're kind of supposed to keep following with him because it's almost like tutorial stuff, but I still haven't even finished.
Not Robbie, it's Joshua, I think. Joshua. that
Yeah. It's one of the
yeah,
people in that
maybe.
town, that
you
lookout
have to
town or
start the
whatever.
first mission
Yeah.
in one of the caverns in order to get it after that, which I agree the game does suggest you should do that, but it's not mandatory. But I did go back and find the thing that I was embarrassed that Sean found that I didn't, and still very embarrassed.
Yeah, that one was, yeah. I mean, I did, when you guys talked about it, then when it came to me, it was pretty obvious like where to go, even though the clue was pretty straightforward, I thought. But yeah, it wasn't completely 100% obvious. But after you guys talking about it last week, I knew exactly where to go to get
Sean
back.
gave a good tip, not gonna lie. Where do tears come from?
Spoiler free sip.
But I can't believe when you got to the town, like they talk about unlocking the sky tower or whatever to unlock the map. So you still haven't unlocked the map, or you had not unlocked the map? Because I thought you get it right when you unlock that sky tower.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you here, Huck. I don't want to go too far down this road because Sean has been like very on edge lately.
What are we? I don't understand. What are we talking about?
In the lookout, the first main town you get to, I think, anyways, that lookout point or whatever it's called. After you kind of like get introduced to everyone, and I think do the first little side quest when you go up to the castle and then come back.
I think what Huck's saying is, in order for you to do that, you didn't do the first tower after you start the game. When you get
tower
to
right
village, you didn't do the initial tower.
The tower right in
Hmm.
town.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember how I got sidetracked. I somehow got pulled off for something else. I may have been playing with Kieran and he just kind of started doing something else. I don't remember, but that's how I just stumbled across the balloon lady and I hadn't finished that stuff yet. So probably, I'm an outlier on that, but I still think like, from what I've read, there's things that seem like I should have by now. Like for instance, the whatever it is that allows you to save like a blueprint of something you've built. I still don't have that. So I feel like that would be something you should have pretty early on.
Like we got to drop this topic. Sean's getting red. It's not going well. We got to stop.
No, I'm not.
He is fuming right now. Do not question him.
I'm not angry at all.
You're dropping it.
Don't feel bad, Sean. I don't have that either.
I mean, it's one of those things where like, I'm curious, like I know some people on the Discord were talking about it. I think that's the only reason I knew that existed, but it just feels like if that exists, you should have it early. Like, why wouldn't that be an obvious thing?
I do not disagree at all. Okay. I think that's going to do it for this week's show, unless I'm missing anything.
I don't think so.
This week, there is the Sony showcase, so I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about. I don't know. I doubt it'll warrant a reaction video, but who knows? That is Wednesday afternoon, I believe. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that in some capacity. Other than that, thanks for listening or watching. YouTube.com/Game Junk for the video podcast with Discord links. Sean is Film Junk on Twitter. Andrew is My Angry Commute and Equilibrium Sis. Other than that, thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.